Immediately you just said I cannot do the interview. Omo, I dey kabash for my head. Like, hey. I was like, where was my husband born? Guys, and I said Lagos.
Thinking of.
Bilonia. Oye Chika.
So they requested for sorry, 3, 2. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I know you're probably wondering who this imposter. Well, because I can. So on my YouTube channel, I talk about life, families, travel, and everything in between. Anyways, I'm just joking. Okay, so my name is Ebong. Obviously, I'm here with my wife, Deborah.
Babe, this is not your YouTube channel. It's my YouTube
It's
channel.
our YouTube channel.
Okay.
I bring you viewers.
Wow.
I give you
Interesting.
numbers. Anyway, so what are we talking about today?
So, guys, we recently clocked 1 year in Germany. Woo! And I mean, we'll be sharing our experience, our relocation experience, and we'll be splitting this video into two parts. So, in the first part of this video, we'll be covering the initial part before our relocation, and for the second part, we'll also be talking our experience after we relocated to Germany. So, guys, just stick around with us because we'll be sharing a lot of interesting stories and also very helpful tips if you want to relocate to Germany. So,
Yeah.
stay tuned, don't go anywhere. So, babe, how did you relocate to Germany?
We bought flight ticket and we entered aeroplane. So I think obviously the process started with, first of all, fun facts. Those are my friends that know me well, maybe in
Oh, wait.
2020. Yeah.
Sorry, actually, babe. So I think I need to start first because I mean, I was the one keen on this whole relocation
Okay.
process, right? So for me, relocation has always been, or relocating has always been part of something that I wanted to do. Like it has always been part of my future plans. Even when we started dating, like Ebong already knew that okay, this girl does not want to stay in Nigeria, and previously I had started like a Canadian visa processing because I actually planned doing my masters in Canada, but that didn't really work out because like I was rejected.
Hmm?
Like I think how many times it was like two
Twice or
two
twice or twice. Can't
yeah
remember.
twice
Yeah.
price. And I mean it was really heartbreaking because my relocation plans weren't forthcoming, and then I think at some point we didn't really have plans to relocate yet, but
Yeah.
we just randomly applied for a job. When I mean we Bay randomly applied for a job. So yeah, Bay,
No.
over to you.
Yeah. I mean, when you say random, it sounds like it just came from nowhere. So yeah, I mean, fun fact for some of my friends that know me, maybe before 2020 thereabouts. Um, my own dream was just to be earning dollars in Lagos. To be honest, like working
Guys,
for
that was his dream.
working for a company outside Nigeria, but in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So somehow that mindset changed. Obviously, a lot of things happened. She had the NSAS sharp. A lot of things happened,
Yeah.
and I think she really took it seriously. Because as I said, or as she said, when we met, she was actively pursuing some Canada stuff, and yeah, at some point I was sold on the idea and also wanted to try it out.
Mhm.
So we obviously started with, I mean, everyone knows that there are
Okay,
two
actually,
ways.
I think the plan was okay if I get Canada, okay, both of us would
Yeah.
relocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when mine didn't really work out, so it was now time for the other person to
Yeah.
now start
Yeah.
something like look for another option, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, to be honest, well, I know there are two ways to Japa. So you can either like go for school and
Mm,
then luckily you get
get
something
a
to do,
job, yeah.
or you can get a job that will sponsor relocation. For me, the second option was always my favorite because first of
The
all,
first,
I
the
don't I
first
don't
is
like
really
school.
stressful.
Yeah, and I don't like school that
Yeah, and
much.
for school
So
you have to pay a lot,
yeah.
like
So for me, it was just a
a
case
whole
of
lot.
what's our best route.
Yeah.
So started applying. I applied to different companies in different countries, but I think Germany was my primary target because already I had friends who were in Germany, and the tech space in Germany is like really booming.
Yes.
And when it comes to my role, which is Scrum Master, I know that there are a lot of opportunities in Germany. So like it was my focus, but I was also applying for other countries. And so yeah, we start applying for different jobs. In terms of what I used to apply, it was basic stuff, LinkedIn, just basic LinkedIn, put your filters and then put on the alerts so that they send you emails when there are openings. You
Yeah.
have to be
So
tough.
did you have to, so there's this LinkedIn thing that you have to subscribe
Yeah, yeah,
to the
premium.
premium.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, true. So at some point I did premium. So the way it happens is that like they say 1 month trial for premium,
Mm-hmm.
and then after 1 month you have to pay. So
Mm.
I use that premium well. So obviously you see a lot more things if you're using premium than if you're using normal LinkedIn. For example, you can see how LinkedIn places you with your other people applying.
Mm-hmm.
What are your chances of getting the role based on the things you've done and
Yeah.
on your profile? So yeah, that was also helpful. But one thing I have to say, obviously, you have to be tough because rejections were plenty. Yeah, there were a lot of like, oh, unfortunately, you see a very long email.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
your experience
yeah,
is
blah blah,
good.
and they make it
Blah blah
sound so sweet.
blah. Yeah.
But yeah,
But
obviously,
we picked a better candidate, a more experienced
my experience for
candidate
the role
for the role.
stories.
We wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So speaking of like your rejections and everything, so how
Mm,
was your interview experience like?
mm,
Maybe I think you should talk about the companies that rejected you and
okay.
also the company that
Yeah.
actually offered you the job.
Yeah. I mean, it's for those people that are familiar with um how people over here interview, they have like 5 stages,
Mm-hmm.
which is somewhat different from Nigeria because Nigeria most times is just maybe the manager, then you speak to someone higher up, and then the HR gives you an offer.
Mm-hmm.
But in most companies here, you first have a call with the HR, obviously, which will be very basic,
Like
trying to
an
understand,
intro,
yeah, like
yeah.
why are you motivated to work for us, as if you don't know why. But yeah, they just ask you
They
like
don't know,
basic things.
please.
They know we want to
Please.
leave Nigeria. I'm sorry, that's not
We're
good.
doing our job.
So yeah, so they do that very basic one
Yeah.
first. That is not always very hard because the
Mm-hmm.
HR typically is not tech inclined. So what the person is just trying to find out is if you're a good fit. And then you go ahead to speak to someone in the department you'll be going to, which is a lot
Mm-hmm.
more technical. And then sometimes you have the meet the team stage, which is something I think more Nigerian companies should do because sometimes someone can be a good fit, but the whole team just doesn't vibe with the person. It just
Sure.
feel some type of way with the way the person talks, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So there's a media team, and then most times you speak with either the CEO, CTO, someone in the C level at least, just to discuss the values of the company and just to understand who the company wants to bring in. But most times, once you've passed media team, you more or less know you've gotten the job, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, most of these companies
Well,
ended at
sometimes, not every time.
most
Most
times
times,
because
yeah.
let's be honest, what you discuss with the CEO will be you say all the nice things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and at that point, the CEO is not trying to interview you because he or she knows that you've already been interviewed by like 3 different stages or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just about, oh, okay, I mean, just to chat. And then once you finish that one, most times it's now the contract discussion. How much do you want? Things like that. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so moving on to the company that actually gave you the offer. So how was
Mm.
like the interview experience like till you got the
Yeah,
offer?
I mean, it was interesting because that period I used to have back to back rejection, and I remember sometimes I would not even tell Deborah because
Guys,
while
I didn't even know. So the funny thing is, like, I never knew he was applying for it, like a job in Germany. I didn't know until like I think when you were very close to
yeah,
getting
because
the offer. That was when I knew about. I was like, really?
because I noticed that like most of the time when I tell you, oh, I got a rejection email,
Oh, yeah, I
sometimes
was
you feel
always
it.
feeling
Yeah, you feel it.
bad.
You feel it more than I'm feeling it. I'm like, no worry now. I know will come. So at some point, I just stopped telling her like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometime in November, that was November 2021, I got the email from the HR saying, oh, she went through my application and she liked it. And, she set up the first call. That's interesting. So we had that first call that day. And then we had the follow up call. They said they liked they liked what I was saying. Obviously, they would like what I'm saying.
You're so
And then
proud.
and then we had the second call with someone else.
Yeah.
And then when I knew that this was happening was when they invited me to the media team because this was the farthest I had gone in any interview. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, before this one, I hadn't even done any HR, even the first stage. Like it has always been direct reject, direct reject.
Also, like you never received an intro
This was the
call.
very first intro
Are you
call. Yeah,
serious?
and then
Wow.
obviously when you're in the mid team stage, obviously I always prepare for mid team interviews because they're like classic questions they tend to ask, and you're always advised to ask questions. Don't just say, "Oh, I don't have any questions." Thank you. No, you have to ask questions. Try to make them think and think. Ah, this guy, we've been to our team. He will improve
Uh-uh.
us.
Bay is giving you guys interview tips,
So
so
yeah, so when I had the mid team invites, so that was when I knew that it was getting real. So we had that interview, and just to fast forward, December, I think 8th December, that was when the HR sent me that, oh, the team liked your
you got the
interview, blah blah,
job.
and then you have the job,
Yeah.
and that was when my heart started beating, and I'll tell you why.
Our hearts actually, because
Yes,
I was there when you got the
yes.
job. Like
Oh,
it
so
was.
one piece of information, like during one of the conversations, I think they had asked me if I was married,
Mm-hmm.
and by that time we're still dating, we're not married.
Yeah.
So obviously I
In
said,
fact, like we
yeah,
did not even have plans
there
to
was no
get
plan to even get
married.
married. So
No, I think we had plans to get married
the
that
next
year.
year, no, the next year, not that year.
No.
This was in
Oh yeah, yeah,
November.
yeah.
Yeah,
True,
so the
true,
plan
true.
was
So yeah,
2022.
so we had plans to
Yeah,
get married the following
yeah.
year.
So one of my conversation, I had told the HR that I was single. Unknown to me, obviously, I was a novice in this. The reason why she was asking was obviously they do relocation package for their
Yeah,
employees from outside Germany. So I didn't know that the reason why they were asking that question was because obviously they wanted to know the cost to take to bring me to Germany if I got the
yeah,
job. So when she sent that email, obviously she sent the contract and said, "Oh, do you accept?" As if I was going to reject it. Anyways, do you accept? And if I accept, I should respond to the email that I've accepted it,
yeah,
and then I should send my passport and I should confirm where I stay. Just basic administrative stuff. Of course, I responded to the email. I put the accepted in bold. And funny thing, they had two options. So you could either work remotely,
from
Nigeria,
Nigeria.
or they will bring
Yeah,
you. I was like, really?
why work in Nigeria?
Really? Of course, bring me over. So, you know, what I said that was when I knew that shit got real was I had to now tell the HR that, oh, actually, I forgot to tell you, but I'm still single, but I'm about to get married to my wife. And the reason why I said that was if I said I was single, then they would have only processed my relocation
Yeah,
because obviously, we are not legally bound
married.
together.
Yeah, I think yeah, you had another issue to
Yeah,
your
my passport.
your
Yes,
passport.
yes, my
So there
passport
were
has
two
expired.
issues.
Yeah,
Yeah, an issue of him not like confirming that he's married, a married
yeah,
man, and another issue was his passport because
yeah.
his your
It,
passport was expiring or it
no,
had
no,
expired.
it had expired actually.
Yeah,
But obviously, I wasn't. In my mind, I was like, "What do I need passport for now until I get the job?"
yeah.
So when that one came, and it shit got real. I got so obviously I got the offer on the 8th of December. Immediately, I sent that email to her that I've accepted and blah blah. I told her to give me a day or two to get back to her with my passport. I
Mm-hmm.
booked a flight to Abuja.
No, even before booking the flight.
Yeah.
So I think what really helped us, to be honest, for this relocation was that we were very fast about things. Like even from like when you had to not
Mm-hmm.
get back to her, letting her know that okay, oh, I have somebody that I'm
Yeah, yeah.
actually
It
looking
was
forward to
risky. It was
getting.
risky because that
Yeah,
can sound like there's no
like yeah,
integrity.
you're not
Yeah,
being
but I just had to.
real.
I'm getting married soon and
Yeah.
everything.
So that was one good thing for us. I
Yeah.
mean, he sent that mail. Then another thing for his passport too, like immediately we knew that okay, oh, he had gotten this job. So I remember reaching out to some people, like asking for some contacts, right, just to make sure he gets his passport immediately. And I mean, those weren't forthcoming, and you
I
now
think I think I
remembered.
think we got someone in Ikoyi that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
that
spoke.
that told us that it should
I've
take
forgotten what
minimum
she
of I
said.
think it was 3 4 weeks, and
No,
obviously I
no,
didn't
she
have anything.
actually said that it was going to come out early,
Yeah,
but
so 3 4 weeks is the early because the normal period is months.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you
Then
get?
she not mentioned a fee or so, and
Yeah,
we're
but
like,
I wasn't having that.
how can we
So
pay that amount?
okay, so yeah, I mean, we explored different options in Lagos because we needed, as I said, I sent a mail to the HR saying, "Oh, I'll get back to you in 3 days and with your passport." So we couldn't wait 4 weeks, 3 weeks, definitely. So I had one option left, and that option was to go to Abuja. Shout out to you if you know, you
If
know.
you know, you know.
So immediately I booked a flight for this was on the 8th. I booked a flight for the 10th of
Yeah.
December, and this was a period where it wasn't as if there was money that much. Oh.
And it
I
wasn't as if you were even on leave. Like you're
exactly,
still
yeah. It was
working.
hey, what you want to
You
me in
were.
trouble?
Yeah.
It's fine, it's fine. But anyways, so I had to travel to Abuja, and it was a difficult moment, I would say, because we were having to make like very quick decisions, like on the go.
Like so
Yeah,
quick.
so I traveled to Abuja on the 10th of December, just 2 days after that. And I mean, if you're in Nigeria, you know how expensive it is to book a return ticket in Nigeria for just 2 days space.
Hmm.
So yeah, I went to Abuja, did everything, and the passport came out. So I think I went on a Friday. I had the interview, whatever it's called, to renew a passport on a Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah.
and on Wednesday or Thursday, the passport came
Came
out.
out. And that was because I mean you had like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somebody to help.
So, so immediately that same Wednesday, that was like 15th. I sent a mail to her, said, "Oh, thank you for your patience, blah blah. This is my passport and everything." And then obviously they got back to me, "Oh, we're happy you've accepted," and all of those drama. And they then told me that they were going to link me up with the relocation agency. So for people that don't know, if you are moving to Germany, I don't know about other countries, but I know Germany, most of the countries, because most of the companies, sorry, because they are looking for um, people coming in, they already offer relocation as part of the package. So
Hmm.
they just link you up with the relocation agency. Some companies will pay them, some will give you like a discount. It depends on the company and how boxed up they are. In my case, what they did was they told me I had to pay for some things, and
Hmm.
then they'll add it to like a salary in the first month.
Yeah.
Other companies will just send it to you, but it depends on the company really. So they sent it to the agency, and this period too was a bit scary because the company now went on Christmas break because this was like 21st
Oh yeah, it
December.
was in December.
Yeah, so the agency
True.
kept on
True.
sending me emails saying, "Oh, they're trying to reach the company to confirm certain things, but the
Yeah, and
company
I
is not
think
responding."
yeah.
Even for the well, okay, we'll talk about the fast track, right? Because
Yeah,
they
yeah. So I
yeah
think why we're even scared because I mean we've like they said we have friends that have relocated to Germany and based on the experiences that we've heard, like there are people that even before relocating they had to wait for
yeah
about how many months or
yeah a
even
long
up to
time
a
yeah
year. Do you
yeah
get? And I mean we didn't want that situation to happen because we were already planning, like I mentioned, we are already trying to fast track things and then the company was not now responding because there was holiday. So we're just really
yeah.
scared.
I remember the woman sending me one email then that she tried contacting the company. This was like maybe 24th.
Mm.
Tried contacting the company and they're not responding and she's not sure who's going to cover the costs for my wife. So I asked, okay. I mean, obviously, my option was I wanted to go with her. So I asked, okay, how much is it for her? And she got back and said it was like 700 euros. 700.
Bao.
So, but anyways, I think I went on LinkedIn and I saw someone who is from Kenya who was also trying to move. He just got employed recently, so I started chatting him up. This is something most people do actually. When you get a new job, find the people in the company on
That works
LinkedIn,
there, yeah.
try to make friends, try to understand, what the company is like and things like that.
Hmm.
So he told me that, oh, we're on break and obviously maybe by next year, they'll respond to the agency and everything. So I got back to the agency, told them to wait till like I think this the second week of January to wait second of January that they'll get back. But if they don't get back to them, that I'm ready to cover any costs. Because at that point I wasn't thinking of
Bilonia. Oya
the
Jikachi.
money was not there
Chukuna
now. Not be me
stand
and
in
you
the
been doing dates
country.
that time. The money was not there, but obviously
Yeah, it
we
wasn't
have the
there. Ah
option to
God.
go. So
Like
I was like,
thinking back,
yeah,
like
it
it
was
was just really,
well, yeah.
really, really stressful. So speaking of the agency, like what kind of documents did they request for and
Yeah.
yeah, what did we like need to do? What
I think it was standard stuff. But the first thing they requested was the power of attorney, which is basically saying that the agency can represent us in Germany. So we give them the right to represent us.
mm-hmm.
So we had to sign. I signed and she signed and we sent to
I can't
them.
even remember signing all those
No, I signed
documents.
everything for you. So, anyways,
Guys.
yeah. So we signed everything and sent to them. So they asked for the classic stuff: passports, marriage certificates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so on my end, like my passport was okay.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
even
yeah.
recently
You
renewed
renewed,
it,
yeah. So you
so
also sent.
yeah, it was fine.
And yes, this was the second problem because they asked for marriage certificates.
Yeah. Oh God, I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
So
So
okay, guys. So like I mentioned, I mean, we've been dating for years, and we already had plans
yeah,
to get married,
next year,
and
the next year, like a
the
full
next
one
year.
year.
I mean, it would have been that year, but I mean,
No, it would have been the next year. Well, it would have been 2022, but
yeah.
this was already January 2022. So yeah, that same year, but like towards the end of the year.
Yes, towards like December. I think
Yeah,
it was
December. It was
December.
December. It was
But
some.
I mean, because of like everything that happened, like the long distance thing, like I'm not against long distance, don't get me wrong. But for me personally, like I don't think I can even do it. Do you
So,
get?
so I don't think it's probably even the long distance. It's because um, coming together with your spouse is easier
Mm-hmm.
than the second person coming
Yeah,
alone.
and I
Yeah.
think during that period I watched a lot of YouTube videos, right? And I mean, I was seeing scenarios of people that their husband traveled and
Uh,
they didn't get to join their husband until like 2 years later, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't want that, right? And I mean, when they asked for our marriage certificate, so like we put in our thinking caps, what should we do, what next, and all of that. And it's not like you can just say, okay, I'm married to this person. Like you need evidence and all. And so we did a court
and I
marriage.
think to add to that, there was already plans to travel to Akwa Ibom. Me and you,
Oh
yeah,
yes, yes,
that
yes, I
December.
remember.
Yeah.
So
So
we actually had plans. So prior to when we did our court marriage, so like I already had plans to go and see my husband's people, like just
your boyfriend's people.
yeah, my then boyfriend. Like I had plans to go and see his people, just to like
Yeah.
more like an informal
Yeah, because of the
introduction.
reunion, then
Yeah.
yeah,
So like we already had plans. So guys, we're already in the pathway to getting married, right? But it was just
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, seeing different entirely. Anyways, just would you like I brought that up is to make you guys understand the timeline.
yeah.
The agency got back to us, I think, on the 21st of December to like, okay, congrats on your new job. Your company has reached out to us to help you with your relocation process.
Mm-hmm.
Send some things, and obviously because it's me and my wife, so there was passport, which is normal because I'd gotten my passport by then, and then there was the marriage certificates, which was what the problem was. And this was 21st of December, and then we
Mm-hmm.
had plans to travel, I think 23rd or 24th, can't
Yeah,
remember,
same
of
December as
December
well.
to Uyo. So obviously I couldn't leave that process hanging to go and to go and Jaye,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you go, that's like to January.
Yeah.
So we had to do the
Cut.
cuts
Yeah.
before traveling, and
Mm-hmm.
that was
I mean,
anyways.
it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like an easy process. Like the way I say we did the course, because I mean, my parents were involved, like extended family members and all. But I
Yeah,
think that's another story for
yeah,
another
that's
day.
different. That's probably be like a story
That's
on
a
its own.
different ball game. But
Yeah.
anyways, the conclusion is that we did
The
court
cuts, yeah,
marriage before
yeah,
we traveled and
yeah,
all of that. So moving on to more documents that
yeah.
the agency required
Yeah, so
requested
yeah,
for.
so obviously, so there's a process called fast track, which is when the company that's employing you, wants the process of your visa application to be fast, because they know that some countries getting an appointment date is a problem. So if they want, they can initiate the fast track process. Um, Based on what the agency said, I think it
So
costs.
sorry to cut you short.
Yeah,
So I think you should differentiate between the fast tracking process and also like the usual process that people use. So the fast tracking process is actually a very unique process, because I think when
yeah,
we like relocated to Germany and everybody was like, okay, how did you guys come? Like how were you able to bring your wife? Like we got that question a lot, right?
yeah.
And most people didn't really know. In fact, like 90% of people that we met here in Germany didn't know about the fast track process. So the fast tracking process is actually a very unique process. I think when the time we relocated was when they introduced it newly,
Yeah, I
right?
think it was 2020.
Yeah, I think even
So
up
it,
till now,
it
people
was,
don't really still use
yeah,
the fast tracking process.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think you should differentiate between like the
yeah.
normal
So
and
yeah, the
fast
normal
tracking.
one, obviously, if you are going through the normal route, either as a skilled worker or as a blue card, whatever, like based on the salary that you'll be earning, it's just normal process. You go to the site, you apply, and then you go to the link, and you see dates available for appointment. Sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes 3 months. It really depends on what you meet. But if you're doing the fast track process, what it means is that the company is saying, I trust this person. This person has all the things that you need. So I'm going to give you a pre-approval document.
Yeah.
So Germany is going to send the
A
documents to
pre-approval
whichever
document.
country you're in. In our own case, Nigeria, obviously, to say, I trust this person. I've received all the documents that you would need. Go ahead to fast track the process, and they would pay. I think it was 300 euros or thereabouts,
Yeah.
and they cover the cost.
So who pays? We pay or
So ideally, it depends on the company. So in our own case, the company
paid for it
paid for
already?
both me and you. So that
Yeah.
was like maybe 1,000 euros, which was good, obviously, because the agency was asking if I was going to foot her own bills. That's the price for her fast track
Mm-hmm.
and the price for their services, which was like 700 combined for
Yeah.
just her. Their mine is like 300 or whatever the cost was. But the company covered everything, and yeah, so they did the process. One thing, which is what I think we're saying, what that people don't know about, is which there was an issue during the appointment. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
So the agency told us to book our appointments with the same link.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can explain this. So when you're going through the fast track process, obviously the visa types are different because one person is the skilled worker,
Skilled, and the
some
other
person is
is
the family
family
reunion.
reunion. Yeah.
So ideally, every type of visa has like the link you use to apply, and based on that link, you get different dates. If it's family reunion, you might even see like next year, because there's always a backlog for family reunion. But if it's skilled worker, you say 3 months, you might see 2 months. Then if it is fast track, it will typically be like maybe a week or two. So, but the agency told us to use the same skilled worker link, and we confirmed again. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because
Actually,
yeah,
I remember us
yeah, we sent an
confirming
email. Are you
again.
sure? Because her own visa is from the union, mine is skilled worker, and the pre-approval is typically for skilled worker. But what they had done, which is what most companies don't do, is that in the pre-approval it had our names. So in the
Mm,
document they sent, it had my name and it had your
my
name.
name.
So it was basically a pre-approval for two people, which was weird. I thought at the time, but they shall collected the money and they did it, and they told us that no, two of you should use the same link. So what that meant was we got the same date, and so the agency submitted our application on the 12th of January. When they had gotten the document from us, mostly marriage certificate, passport, university degree, to show that, and then there's something they call an, which
Mm-hmm.
is just to show that your school and your course, it the match with their own school and course, just to see how good your school is, because there's
Yeah, I
certain school.
think the scores,
Yeah, yeah, like your
school, your
grade. Yeah,
grades. Yeah,
yeah.
your
So they
grades.
just check those two things. Oh, your course you studied, what will be the equivalent and what you got and things like that. So Richard just sent everything to the agency. So the agency told us not to apply yet because, like I said, there's a different link for a normal visa skilled worker and a different link for the pre-approval skilled worker.
Yeah, so when we say pre-approval, we mean the fast
Yeah,
tracking
the fast track.
process. So
Yeah,
it's either a pre-approval or fast tracking.
yeah.
They're both the same.
Because of the nature of it, right? Because what is happening is that rather than Nigeria approving you and then sending it to Germany to say, okay, we've approved this person based on the checklist we have, it's now your turn. Germany does the approval first and then sends it to Nigeria to say, we have already done these document checks, so you are safe. You can do your own processes, but for left to us, we've approved this person already. So that's why the name pre-approval. So yeah, they sent it on the 12th of January to them. They told us that okay, we've sent the the application and let's wait. It was to be 3 business days. It wasn't really, because they approved it on the 1st of February
Mm-hmm.
last year, and they said, okay, now you have your prepared documents, we'll send it to you. You can go ahead to apply now that you have the documents. And then there was that whole confusion of which link should she use, and they said use the same link. Okay, cool. So we used the same link and applied. And because it was pre-approval, this was on the 1st of February.
Mm-hmm.
We got a date for 18th of February. So that's
An
difference.
appointment
An
date, yeah.
appointment date, yeah. So barely maybe 2 weeks plus,
Yeah.
almost 3 weeks, but relatively speaking, that was very fast. One more thing, yeah. After the 12th of January, after the agency had submitted the documents for our preparer, we're waiting. We started obviously putting wedding plans because we wanted to be married. We were married already
Yeah,
legally, but like
legally.
church and traditionally.
Yeah. So I mean, we got married legally, right? But we had to do like the proper Nigerian kind of wedding, right? Because I mean, you have extended family members and even your parents as well. Because
Yeah,
I think relocation process was like fast approaching, like it was really
yeah,
fast, like things were happening so fast, and we were thinking ahead, like I mentioned earlier. So we
yeah.
had to do like the proper wedding, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like we said, I think we need a different
Yeah, we'll
video
probably do a
just for
different
just for our
video,
wedding
yeah.
and all the things that happened.
Yeah, and how we
So
planned
yeah,
our wedding in just, I think it was just in two
in two
months.
months really, yeah,
Yeah.
because we got the offer in December and we got married in February.
Yeah.
So but yeah, there was one fear because now we knew. I mean, we were waiting for the fast track to be done, and we had gone ahead with the wedding plans, picked a date, told everybody, and the fear was we hope that our appointment at the embassy doesn't clash with the wedding date because we picked a Friday. There's a story behind everything, but we actually picked a Thursday and a Friday. So Thursday for our
Mm-hmm.
traditional marriage and
And
the Friday
Friday for
for
the
the church wedding.
whites. Yeah.
So we're scared that what happens if on the same day we have our appointments. What do we do? Do we abandon the wedding and go for the appointment? Because
I'll
obviously
go
that's
with
very
wedding with
important.
the wedding gown.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, there was that fear. So fast forward to when I think 1st of February, they told us that okay, now we have the prepared documents. Go ahead to apply, and that was when our heart was beating. We clicked the link, put the information. I think you upload the prepared documents. Which that was why they told us not to apply
Yeah,
yet.
so while applying, was it just the pre-approval document we uploaded
Yes,
on the
yeah, it
site?
was it was our email, the name, and the prepare document. So the only difference between that one and the normal link was just that extra prepare document you have to upload.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we uploaded it, and lo and behold, we saw 18th February, which was
Yeah,
like a week after the
after
wedding.
our
So it
wedding,
was just perfect,
like
and
everything just worked
yeah,
out for our
yeah,
good, to be
yeah.
honest.
So yeah, we did. I mean, we went for the interview.
Yeah, so interview day, I mean, we were like everything was working out for our good, right? So we were just hoping that okay, it's not just to go and submit document, like God is on our side, like everything will go well as it has been. And we got to the embassy. I think we paid a fee, right?
Yeah, normal visa fee. We
Yeah,
paid
you
that.
paid the normal visa fee.
Shout out to Paulinos, by the way.
Yeah, so I think everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody
Is
knows
that his
Paulinos.
name?
Yeah, Paulinos, that's his
Yeah,
name.
everybody
Yeah,
knows
everybody knows.
Mr. Polinos at the embassy. But I mean, we didn't have like that experience that people
Hmm.
usually have.
Oh yeah, let's tell them the story of the parking thing, the parking scam. So so the way the German embassy
Yeah,
is it's literally there's a building and then there's a road that's just one
yeah,
way. So you enter and you have to drive to the end and come out.
yeah.
So what happens is there are the
Just at
guys
the
at the
entrance,
entrance
yes.
when you're going off
So
of the
guys,
express.
yeah, the funny
Yeah.
thing is we had not even turned to our right yet.
Yeah, so I
And we
say
just had like a lot of
say
people, a lot of men
that
saying,
na one way, that na one way,
they'll
no
say,
go, no
don't go,
go,
don't
no
go, don't
go.
go, don't
Just
go.
come back for here.
Yeah.
So we obviously, I
We
mean,
were
that was
scared.
our first time in that particular embassy. So I said, let's know these guys before we, because if you know VI well, VI is very notorious for that because there are like so many one ways that there are no signs.
Yeah.
So you only know it's a one way when you enter and you see the police car parked there and looking
Mm.
at you. So we now obey the guys now and entered their
Their
parking
car
space.
park, yeah.
But eventually we found out that they were doing that because if you drive like to the end of the road where the embassy is, there's a parking space there you
There
can
is.
park.
So that
But
I think based on the embassy you want to go to, I
yeah,
think each embassy
yeah,
has its
everyone
own
has a space.
parking
Yeah,
space. And the way the German embassy is like down, like you have to
yeah, that's
walk
all
all the
now.
way. So for us, because of the men that kind of distracted us and told us to come to their car park, and when we got there, we now had like we got down and then we now had to trek all the
All the
way.
way.
Like
And I think yeah,
we passed like so many
and I think
embassies.
what they ended up collecting was even more than what we would have paid if we
Paid,
went to at the
yes.
German side.
Yeah, so
Anyways,
don't be deceived, Sha.
and then they'll say all manner of things. Oh, come and say, your data page now black and white. Ah no, it has to be colored. It has to be colored.
Guys,
And then go and meet them to photocopy. You hear 2,000 naira to
is
photocopy.
it 2,000, 5,000, sir?
Or to say, so I mean, for me, first of all, like I said, I have friends, tons of friends that are in Germany. So when it comes to the requirements, I spent like days, discussing with
Yeah,
my
kudos,
German friends.
kudos to
Yeah,
Bay for that.
shout out to you and Kay. So, anyways, yeah. So I spent time discussing those things, the requirements. I went online. I was researching. I did everything, Sha, just to ensure that when we get there, we won't be bamboozled. So when these guys were saying the data page, is it color, is it black or white? In my head, I'm like, do you know better than the websites that have said it can be colored, it can be black or
Guys,
white?
and if Bay wasn't there with me, or like I would have fallen for you because I was already asking Bay that Bay, are you not sure you want to listen to these people that they've been doing this for
Those guys
years?
are
They
scammers, fraudsters.
probably know, right? So,
Yeah.
guys,
So
like a lot of distractions, like for the parking space.
yeah,
Then when you're not even walking to your embassy, too, like you have people approaching you. Have you done this? Do you have this
yeah,
document? Like
putting
just
fear in you,
yes, and
trying
I
to
think it doesn't
extort.
even make sense to be honest.
Well, I mean, a hustle, last.
Yeah, so
So,
moving on.
so yeah, I
Um
mean, I think even we had an issue entering because, like I said, the actually, the requirement for pre-approval is actually different from the requirement for skilled workers.
yeah.
And one problem we had was even the guy at the door didn't know the requirement for pre-approval. If you've been to the German embassy, like they paste all the requirements for all the visa types,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no pre-approval there.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's a new thing. It came out like a year or two before we went to do our own interview, so it
Yeah,
was
I
still new
think
to them.
so. One thing we forgot to mention. So, I mean, we had like a checklist before we went to
Yeah, that's what I'm
the
referring to. You
embassy.
check this, yeah.
Yeah, a checklist. So for me, in my part, I had to bring in my educational background, like right from primary school, all the way from primary school, right?
Mm,
And I didn't have my primary school certificate
yeah.
again, so I had to go to my primary school, like even like
How did that
my
feel seeing your school again?
yeah, I mean, it felt
Felt
it
like a
felt
big
really
girl.
nice. So for my certificate, I didn't have that, so I had to even figure out how to get it. So we had to use like the school stamp and all of that. And I think another thing too, I had to get like a document from my parents as
Yeah, that
well.
was letter of spinsterhood to show
Yeah,
that you'll not be married or you're not married right now.
yeah, yeah,
Funny
and
document.
yes, I even had to provide like a family picture, right?
Yeah,
Had to provide
yeah,
the family picture. I remember putting in this very old family picture and also another picture of myself and my twin as well. Then we
yeah,
also printed out like our
yeah,
marriage
yeah.
pictures as well,
Mhm.
just like evidence to show that okay. And we print the court marriage that we printed out. We made sure we had the one with the background.
Yeah,
Yeah, the courts.
showing the LGA that
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
yeah,
the LJ, the local government, right? So, and what else? Like, I mean, the usual
yeah,
documents now, your passport,
yeah.
um, all other documents again.
I think for you it was largely around like your family to show that you
Mm-hmm.
have a family, try you're not
Yeah.
married, marriage certificates for you, pictures that we have together,
Mm-hmm.
your secondary school, university, and primary school sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was majorly it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then for
Then
me it
for you,
was it was like my contracts, my CV,
your educational
educational
background.
background, the
Yeah.
ANA we talked about, which will compare your school and your course with their own here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some other documents that they requested, but my company had sent the documents to me via DHL
Yeah.
because those documents have to be presented as originals.
Now, yeah.
Which, by the way, I think asking other people used like they didn't have to send it physically via DHL. But my company did. They spent the money to send it via DHL, so that was
Your
good.
company was really helpful,
Yeah,
Sha.
yeah.
But
Until they were
anyway,
not. But anyways,
but anyways, moving on. I mean, we got to the embassy, we paid the fee,
I'm going to
and
report to you,
then
by the way, that you don't know where I was born.
we're getting there. We're getting there, guys. So we paid for the fee, and then we went in. I think they
Yeah.
checked us and all of that. Then we sat down at the waiting area. I mean, there were other people there. I think I saw some young people. I saw couples as well,
Mm.
right? And then it was our turn. and they called us. I think how did they even call us? Was it that our name was on the screen
No,
or
no, no. I don't think we have name on the screen in Nigeria. That's a joke, by the way. I think it was just a case of there's a queue. I know we had a time
yeah, I
for
think we
ours.
were called. I can't really
Yeah, we
remember.
just
But
stood up
anyway,
and then
we Sha went to the person that was to interview us. So
yeah
honestly, I actually thought it was just
to
go and
submit
submit your
documents.
document and you leave. That was
Like
the
UK
impression
stuff.
that, yeah, like that was the impression that I had or we had, right? And then we went to the person that would submit our documents to. The guy was just very
No, it's
at
nice.
first. No, at first he seems very
I mean, you could see that he was like a good guy, but he was
yeah,
just
very
trying to be
professional
yeah.
and all.
Was a nice guy.
But yeah, I mean, we got there, we presented our document. Did we pay to him or we had paid to?
So
No,
no,
no, no,
you
we
pay
paid
outside before you
outside.
did.
Yeah.
So you're missing one important part. So when we got there, the whole issue of appointments now came up.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I said like when we were applying, I asked the agency, "Are we to use the same link?" And she said, "Yeah, sure. I mean, we have both names in the preferred document, so use the same link." So we use the same link, and that's how we got the same
Mm-hmm.
appointments and at the same time. So when we entered, and we went to the case officer, I think that's what
Yeah.
they're called. The guy now said, "Why are we here together?"
Together. Yeah.
And we said, like, we showed them the, like the tell to print the appointment letter on from the Gmail, whatever.
Yeah, we
So
just printed
yeah, so we
one
printed, no, we
because
printed two actually, but we
yeah,
showed the guy that like it's the same time, same day.
yeah.
That's when the guy now said, which link did she use? He asked that question because you see this Nigerian, he knows that there's no way that family reunion can get that date early because, like I said, we applied on the 1st of February and we got 18th of February, so literally 17 days. So that's why he was shocked that she was already interviewed on this 18th of February. So we now explained to the guy that, well, we have a pre-approval. Once again, pre-approval is new, so I don't think they even know so much about pre-approval.
Yeah, if I think the guy didn't even know
He
about
didn't know,
prayer.
yeah.
Yeah, he
I,
didn't
I
know
I was getting
about
to where
it.
they actually called himself.
Yeah.
So he said, well, that unfortunately she can't
Do it.
do her interview and submit her document. That I would do
Guys,
mine while she has to go and use the family reunion link.
and apply.
And I'm telling the guy that, bros, it was like we have the prepared document here. It has my name, it has her name. I was like, no, that it's not skilled worker. She's not skilled worker.
Yeah.
She's family reunion, so she has to do family reunion link.
And guys, when I just heard that, like my heart was broken. I was like, no.
I was like, yeah,
As in,
wow.
immediately I just said, I'm not traveling with my husband.
So
That's what I just said. I said I'm not traveling with my husband. God.
so he now said, well, that the one favor he can do for us is he can collect your document and keep. Whenever you get a date and you come,
Instead of
instead of
waiting,
waiting, you just come straight. But for
yeah,
us, that wasn't the option we wanted because, like I said,
it will still take
we had
time.
done our wedding already. We planned to
Mm.
travel together. We had consulted people, and they said, if you can, come with your wife. And the company had paid money for me and my wife, so it didn't make sense for her to use the normal process.
Mm.
So obviously, we're asking me, is there anything you can do? Because I mean, we know how dates, how getting a date is an issue. The guy said, there's something I can do, blah blah. He now told us, this is where the brother will say God touched him. He now told us that, wait, I'm coming. Like I said,
Honestly, see me, like I'm a believer.
I'm not a believer.
We're both believers, but
So-
I think as at that point, I just knew that a
oh yeah,
breaking.
oh yeah, there I.
No, it was just I just knew that God was going to break protocols for our sake during that period because immediately you just said I cannot do the interview. Omo, I dey kabash for my head like, hey, it
No,
cannot be.
if you even say
Not on my watch.
if you even say he's going to break protocol, it sounds like we're doing something wrong. It's actually his ignorance. Because, anyways, let me continue the story.
Yeah.
Kisha says,
No, I think let's just say, I mean, it was just luck and
yeah,
it was
it
just
was
God's
luck.
grace.
Yeah,
Because
because
imagine
if you
if
said we were not doing that, was
yes, and
yeah,
imagine if you did not say, let me make
yeah,
that call.
yeah.
Like, guys,
Yeah.
no
So
interview.
it was so deep that the first thing he actually left. Remember, he left and went. So if you go to the German embassy, there's like the place where everyone is for the appointment, but they have like a proper office.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually told us, okay, give me a moment. Then he went and spent some time there and came back
Yeah.
and first told us that, well, there's nothing that he went to speak to them to understand, and they said there's something he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 or 2 minutes after, he
He
got a
now
call,
received the call.
and I don't know what whether maybe the office consulted Germany to understand the process. I don't know what happened. He
Yeah.
shouted us what he called like one thing like
And once he dropped it,
and
guess what
said,
he said? Today
"Today
is
is
your
your lucky
lucky
day."
day. Ah, I'm like, oh shit.
So so this is the process that I don't think I've seen anyone
Ah,
doing, like having a joint appointment, even though one person is field worker, one person is
yeah.
probably union. But maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
something that if you're planning to come to Germany, maybe you can try it with your agency. Tell your company if they can pay for the second person. Just try it. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
The case officer will say no, but it's
I
worth
mean,
trying.
we're talking based on our experience.
Yeah,
It works for us and it might not
yeah,
work for you.
yeah,
So it really depends on, I
yeah.
mean, the entire process. So yeah, moving on.
So yeah, I mean, I started first, right?
Yeah.
So he asked me some
So
questions.
okay, actually, yeah. So like I mentioned, we didn't even know that it was going to be an interview. So we just felt like, okay, that process
Yeah,
will end. So when he just told us it's a lucky day, we were like, ah, thank God, though. Let's just submit our document and let's go. Let's go and be praising our God, right? And then once we gave the documents, no. So was I still with my documents?
yeah, you were still with yours.
Okay,
Then
so
he now said you should go and sit down.
so he asked for base document and he told me that okay, I can go and sit down. I was not confused, like what is going on. He now said I need to ask him some questions. So when he even said that, I was like, okay, Shebi is my husband that got the job now. So maybe just
Yeah,
he wants to ask, okay,
mm,
things about the company and maybe a few
yeah,
things about Germany and all.
yeah.
And then
Because before then,
yeah,
like my friend had told me that the only thing they ask is like what's on the company, what's the
yeah.
pay. So my one like that one is basic now. When I
Mm.
went there, it was like proper grilling. Started with how many stages of interview did I have? I told him easy. Then he started asking me things like, okay, so why Germany? Why not our country? Why do I want to work there? He asked me as a scrum master, what are the things I do? In mind, I'm like, is this like six stage of interview or what? Obviously, the good thing was there are questions that I could answer. So answer that one. He asked me about the company, do I know about the role, the pay, just random stuff. Why I was going to Germany and general things like that. So I answered everything, and then normal took my biometrics, which is the standard
Oh
stuff,
yeah, true.
and
Mm.
then told me okay, I was done, and then
B
called
walked
wifey.
up to me and he was like, "They are calling you." I'm like, "Who?
Yeah.
Who? Why did you?" And he's like, the guy wants to ask
I
you
did not say they are calling
questions.
you. Get out.
And he's like, "It's your turn." I'm like, "My turn for what? I'm not prepared for anything." But I think, luckily for us, like before we went to the embassy, like we just gave ourselves probabilities. We're like, okay, if they ask you any questions,
Yeah,
just prepare yourself for so and all of that. So
yeah,
we were prepared, but the funny thing is when I now got there, the questions that I actually prepared for were not the questions that I was asked. I mean, some were really easy because like the first one, he just asked, okay, how did you meet your husband? I'm like, how did I meet my husband? I'm like, we just met at, like we were colleagues and we met that way. And they were like, no, 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 tell me a story. Tell me. I'm like, is this embassy interview? I'm like, okay, no problem. Then I went way back from how I started NYC, my NYC days, and then I met my husband at my previous workplace and so and so. And then, like, I could tell that he was enjoying my story. And me, I'm a storyteller. I love talking. And then I just made it, not like I made it really nice, but everybody, like, anybody that hears a story, like, is always
yeah.
very happy about it, right? They really love our story. So I mean, I like told him our story, and then he now moved on to what else? He moved on to okay, where we got married, and it was like, oh, what is the name of the church? I told him the church. Yeah, so he also asked when we got married, and then guys, the last question he just asked was something I meant to know. He asked, where was your husband born? Guys, I was like,
Guys, just guess what she said.
wait, hey, God. I was like, where was my husband born? Guys, and I said Lagos. Ah, when I said Lagos, it's like the love story that I told the guy. He just looked at me and like, are you serious?
me
No, I
that
think
me
he
that
actually
moved
said, are you serious? That's what he told
me that
me.
moved to Lagos like you know YC. That was my very first time in Lagos.
Guys, like you wouldn't blame me. I was really tensed up. Like my head was everywhere. Like mind wasn't in one place basically. And when he just asked that question, I just said Lagos. I think the guy said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "No, no, 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 Uyo." The guy now smiled and I said, "Ah, that so you don't know where." I think he said, "So you don't know where your husband." No, he said he would report me to
Yeah,
my
to
husband.
your husband, yeah.
And oh, by me, like after the whole interview stage, like
Mm.
after that, me and I even questioned him too. I interviewed him as well, and I told him, I think I asked him that, do you think that do you know how long we're going to get feedback, and do you think that we'll get it and all of that. It was just like he was not even advising that we should just be positive and all of that.
Yeah,
Then
I think when he softened up to you was when I think he's also his
yeah,
dad is
he's
also a
a
pastor.
pastor's
Yeah,
child,
so they
right?
had
So
yeah.
yeah, so I think when he asked where we got married, the address, like we did a traditional in my dad's church, and we're like, that your dad is a pastor, like
Yeah.
yes, you're like, oh, my dad's a pastor, like even where as far as like letting me know some personal things about his family, I'm like, okay, that God, you have made a way, like that was just my impression, but like the whole process was really nice. So I think one thing I'll take from the interview process, like don't go with an attitude of okay, you don't want to be like, go with a very friendly attitude. Do you get, like we did not go there oh giving attitude and saying this is your work, take my document or whatever. So you have to go with a very joyful spirit. Like don't go with someone that is scared as well, because don't be like me that forgot my when my husband was born, right? So just go with a mindset that okay, I'm going for an interview, also with a joyful spirit as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Shalaye, shalaye. So, anyways, yeah, so we finished the process. Obviously, went back to the car and headed back home. And this was when the anxiety, worry, I don't know what to call it, but so typically for the fast track, it's meant to take 2 weeks, two
Hmm.
working weeks, and then you're meant to get response. Now, the interview was on the 18th of February, like we mentioned, and so we're expecting to get, like the embassy's response in March because that was like 2 weeks from it. But there was nothing.
There was nothing,
So I started
guys.
sending emails to the agency asking her what's going on. That that okay, to make it a bit more complicated, because we were moving, we had started selling our stuff. So some things were already out of the house, some were still there, like our cars. I think we still no, I sold my car was gone, but her own car
Yeah,
was
my
still
car was
there
still there.
because we're driving, using that one to move around.
Yeah.
So because we were planning that, it was now spoiling the plan because we were thinking, okay, just finish this process, give us response so that we move and sell everything. But no response. I sent an email to the agency. She said, "Oh, okay," that she was going to send an email to them and that she would get back to us. But that because my own process includes her, I mean, I think the real process is there's meant to be a lawyer that's meant to go and confirm all of those things she
Yeah.
submitted, that she's not married before, all of those
Yeah.
things.
And I think
Yeah,
so if it was just be that applied, so for skilled workers, like you get your visa
yeah,
like really
very, yeah,
fast. And also for skilled workers too. So if you're applying just as a skilled worker, you can also do a fast track process too,
yeah, yeah.
right? And I mean, because mine was a family reunion attached to a skilled workers
Look at, yeah,
application,
yeah,
blue card. It took time. Like there was no place we did not check. We checked our inbox, we checked spam,
yeah.
we even checked deleted items just to be sure that we did not delete any mail at all. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't just there. We're like, what is going on?
And then on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day actually, they sent an email, told us to bring our insurance.
No, not
Yeah.
even insurance, babe. So before the
Oh,
insurance,
okay.
they had sent email. So so prior to when we got a first meal from them. I had watched like a lot of YouTube videos. Like I even saw a video where someone was talking about, oh, if they send a mail to you to bring a document that you did not upload, like you did not submit, they will not have to restart the process again. I'm like, God forbid. And then lo and behold, we received a mail, and that mail requested that I bring in an original document, right?
Yeah,
So
because we had scanned the first one, so they said we
yeah,
didn't want scanned copy that we should bring it.
original documents. Ah, God. So my heart was like, God, like, are they going to start this entire process again? So
Mm.
that means if they, I think they got back to us before April. So that was like
Yeah,
sometime
definitely.
in
Yeah,
February ending. And I'm like, we waited from when?
February 18th. So
Yeah,
yeah,
till then. Is it that they will not start it all over again? So like so many thoughts in our head. But thankfully, after we submitted like the original document, so we actually had to go back to the
yeah,
embassy.
yeah.
So we went back to the embassy and then we submitted the
But this time
document.
around, we didn't pack in that first
Yeah,
place
we didn't pack
because
there.
we were now
In
expats.
fact, the same thing happened. So when we were
Yeah, they
back
were
on it, they're
coming.
like,
No
wait,
go,
wait,
no
wait,
go.
wait,
Now
wait,
one way,
wait.
now one way. Say no
We're
worry,
like,
we won't go. No worry.
nah, we're not
Yeah,
newbies, please.
yeah.
But anyways, we went to the embassy and we submitted the
There was
document.
drama at the
Yeah,
entrance,
there
but
was like, if,
yes, it's normal embassy stuff. People are like
yeah,
angry that you're traveling for no reason.
I don't know.
But
I don't know
anyways,
why. But
and the security guy that was there, that was anyways.
yeah, but anyway, Sha, I don't think it's even worth talking about to be honest. But I mean, we submitted the document, and I think was it weeks?
Yeah, so it was on. Probably it was a month plus actually,
Okay, yeah,
because I think it was 1st of April that they said, okay, bring your insurance and your intended date of travel. And for those of you that are familiar with the process, once you get that email, it's because it's there with your passport, right? Once you get that email, you are 90% sure that you're getting the visa.
yeah.
Because there was also that fear from our part that, oh, what if they reject us? I mean,
What will
it's
happen?
just normal thoughts because we had
Yeah,
sold some things, we had
yeah.
done things ahead of time.
But I mean, the
So
good thing, well, I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but we were just planning for the good or the bad, right? So if it was good, we had plans. If it was bad, we also had plans too. Like we were ready to just start over and all. But thankfully, we're so
yeah,
glad that it came out really like very positive, and then we were able to pick a travel date. We were able to buy our
yeah,
tickets. We bought our tickets,
yeah.
and then another important thing too, they needed to know where we would be staying once we moved to Germany. So at that point, Bay's company offered to pay an agency to find an apartment for us, but because the timeline,
No, no, it's the same agency, but they have different
oh
units.
yes,
So
yes,
they
yes,
agreed
same
to pay
agency,
the accommodation units to find the house for us. So
a
which was
house, yeah,
nice,
and
extra.
which was really nice. But I
Yeah,
think the timeline, we were out of time, so we couldn't get an apartment before moving
and we're
to
out of money.
yeah, we couldn't get an apartment before moving to Germany, right? So we booked like a hotel, an affordable hotel for where we stayed for, I think it was like 2 weeks.
Either 2 or 1 week. Yeah, but
Yeah, I think no, it
no,
was, yeah, it
it
was
was a week because we moved on 23rd and we moved to the house on the first day. It was like 7 days.
okay,
So
yeah,
we
yeah,
stayed in the
yeah.
hotel for a week. So one important thing I want to mention, the house thing, the house requirement actually has a size requirement. So if you are moving and you are also doing family reunion, whether it's your partner or with your partner and kids, there are different sizes based on the number of people going. So, for example, if it's just you, there's no requirement of house. But if your wife is joining you, then I think the house must be 24 meters square or something like that. If you've got three, there's requirements. If you've got
Mm,
four. So,
it'll
when
be
we're searching
bigger.
for the hotel to book, we had to ensure that the hotel met the requirements because if the house is too small, the belief is you don't have enough to, you know, to
To
house
house,
someone else.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we got the hotel, and then submitted that with our insurance, and they said we should just write the travel dates. We then wrote a long letter. We didn't want to hear any stories, so we wrote a long letter. We'll be traveling this date, this blah 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 blah, blah. And we took it back to the embassy to
Yeah.
submit. And then, so this was on the 1st of April. I think we went to submit. We got the mail on the 1st of April, but we went to submit maybe on the second or third. I think the next Monday because it was a Friday, and then on the 18th ish of April, DHL brought back. So one funny thing is, when you go to submit your documents, you also submit like a DHL envelope,
Mm-hmm.
and they give you like the tracking code. We're always checking that code.
I said
Always checking that
every
code.
day. Like we're so anxious. We just
So
wanted to get it like ASAP, ASAP. And I mean, it came. It was delivered that
yeah,
day, and we were so 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 happy. And I mean, the timeline. So in summary, what would you say the timeline to get our visa was?
yeah. I mean, there are 2 answers, right? Because just looking at the skilled worker part alone, it took longer than normal. obviously. But considering the fact that we came together, so there was a family reunion part to it, and from the stories we hear, people stay 1 year, 2 years. Their partner is like in Nigeria before their spouse, whichever one, is
Mhm.
Nigeria before they, get even the appointment. They talk more of getting the actual like approval.
Yeah.
So I think it was fast because going back to from the very first day we started the approval process, which was in January or February, 1st of February, down to the day we had our passports back. That was April 18th.
Mhm.
So that was like maybe 2 months plus. So I think it's very fair. And not through this period, obviously, I was talking to the company. So the original, when I got the job in December, the original employment start date was 1st of January. They were thinking that Nigerian embassy will be fast. But anyway, so as the thing was delaying, so we were constantly talking, okay, let's push it to February, let's push it to March. And eventually when we got our passport back, we now said, okay, 1st of May is the official date. So whenever you guys want to come, you guys can come. So we traveled on the 22nd of
Mhm.
April.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a few days to my
Yeah.
birthday. Okay, guys, so that's about part one of this video. If you have questions or if you're not clear on anything, please feel free to leave a comment below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Please share with anybody that would like to relocate to Germany. And yeah, we'll see you in part two. Bye for now.